Welcome to 12 yoga poses for positive stress. For today's class, you're going to need a bolster, 2 blocks, and something to sit on. You can sit on your blocks, your bolster, or a meditation cushion, or a chair. We're still in the Navigate Your Nervous System series. This is the 3rd class. In September, we're in the sympathetic activation part of the nervous system. Our members are focusing on the fitting in response. And so many of you have already downloaded our cheat sheet. You go to melissawest.com/navigate to download that. So thank you to all of you who have downloaded that so you can follow along where we are. In October on YouTube, we'll be doing the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to give you 3 yoga nidras in October because you guys love those. So be sure to subscribe and continue on with our Navigate Your Nervous System series. Let's get started. Today, you're going to need we're going to start resting back for some centering. So go ahead and lie down on your back. Okay, so resting back, feel the support of the earth underneath you. Let yourself rest into that support. Follow your breath in and follow your breath out. Notice how you're feeling. Knowing that if stress is present, it's totally fine. Our nervous system is never wrong. Sympathetic activation is a normal nervous system response. So the very things that give our life meaning, whether relationships, our work, our parenting, or pursuing goals, aspirations, intentions in our lives that are meaningful to us, are often the very same things that activate our nervous system, that cause that stress response. And instead of causing more stress, adding that second arrow by trying to eliminate stress, we can embrace the fact that stress is an inherent part of being human and a part of caring about something deeply. The more meaningful life is, the more likely it is to involve stress, sympathetic nervous system activation. So stress is a sign of being engaged in life. Sympathetic activation of our nervous system is something that can lead to growth, learning, and resilience. Stress can increase focus, energy, and motivation, all of which are necessary to meet challenges. Stress hormones from sympathetic activation like cortisol and adrenaline prepare our bodies to act. And remembering that our nervous system is never wrong, we can reflect on how when we feel that sympathetic nervous system activation, our bodies are resourcing us. We talk about how we can resource ourselves. Our bodies are always resourcing us. So let's just take a moment now before we come into the movement part of our class. This is a more mindful part of our class. To reflect back on just something in your recent past that was a little stressful, not the most stressful thing in your life, just something that was a little stressful for you. Times when you had some sympathetic nervous system activation for a manageable period of time. So last week, Tim and I went through a period of uncertainty that was causing a lot of sympathetic activation. And looking back, it was a time of connection. And since then, it has been a time where we've grown. That sympathetic activation has caused us to grow. And we've put together plans to resource ourselves for the future. So oftentimes these periods of stress can bring a period of growth, a period of when we look back, we can feel gratitude for them, and they bring us closer together. And we'll explore this through the class. So we're going to start with your legs out long, and you're going to need a block, so reach for one of your blocks. We're going to start with some spinal mobility and hip flexor strengthening. So I've chosen in this class to do some titration. We'll step into something that might activate your nervous system a little bit, and then we'll pendulate, we'll come back and resource ourselves. We'll come back to center and ground. So start with your arms overhead with your block. Take a breath in. You're going to bring your arms up to a 90-degree angle. Tuck your chin, draw your ribs down, roll all the way up through your spine. And then you're going to place your block down in front of you. Let's place it on the lowest setting to start. Sit up nice and tall. You're going to lift your leg and lower. And then lift your leg and lower. So we're strengthening our hip flexors. Inhale at the top, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, roll down through your spine, bone by bone by bone. And take your arms overhead, big breath in. Exhale, you're going to roll up. So you can stay with the lowest setting. You could try a medium setting. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And then inhale. Exhale, roll down through your spine. Inhale. Exhale, roll up. Inhale. Exhale, roll down. Inhale. Exhale, roll up. You can try another level of the block. Oh, I gave myself a cramp on that one. And one more. Okay, great. And we're going to stay sitting up for this next one. You can either sit on your block or a meditation cushion or a chair. And we're going to do some Kabati breathing. Okay, so when your body goes into sympathetic nervous system activation, it not only produces cortisol and adrenaline, but did you know it also produces DHEA? And this DHEA helps you to be focused and resilient. So we hear a lot about adrenaline and cortisol, but we don't hear so much about DHEA. So it's not all bad. We just hear about the bad press. So let's do some Kapalabhati breathing, some skull shining breathing, which is so great for focus and energizing. So again, sympathetic activation of our nervous system is great, especially in the mornings, because it gives us that get up and go. So you can place your hands on your belly, and you're going to do an active exhalation, and then relax your belly, and your breath will come in like a vacuum. So, and this is kind of a fake it until you make it breath. You actively exhale, relax, and then the breath comes in like a vacuum. And if you run out of air, just reload and start again. And eventually you'll get it, you'll catch on. But I love this breath in the morning. It really starts to give you energy and focus. So this is a way that sympathetic activation can be positive. Stress can be a positive thing. It's like your morning cup of coffee. Full breath in. Full breath out. Breathe part way in and hold until the need to exhale is great. Okay, and then just notice how you feel. Okay, so you might notice more clarity in your mind. So really great breath for focus, for clarity, to wake you up. So if you have brain fog, you feel like confusion, it's a great breath. So I love that one in the morning for positive stress, positive stress. Okay, the next one we're going to do is frog pose. Frog pose, another one for positive stress. You might want to have a blanket. Sorry, I didn't tell you blanket, but a blanket can be useful because then you can use it on your elbows if you don't, especially if you don't have carpet. Okay, so you're going to bring your legs to 90 degrees on either side, flex your feet, and then you're going to lean back. So eustress is positive stress, which occurs when the stress is related to something we value. It's a type of stress that can motivate us, push us to grow, and even make us more resilient. It comes from challenges that are meaningful and helps us to rise to the occasion rather than retreat in fear. Okay, so when we do a pose like frog pose, we're practicing something called stress inoculation. It's the process of building up tolerance to stress through repeated exposure. Make sure when you're in this pose, you're pressing down through your forearms. You're not like sinking into your shoulders so that you're using your strength here. And you're also leaning back into it. So by engaging with small, manageable stressors, like we can do this, we can increase our ability to handle more significant challenges in the future. So sometimes by babying ourselves, we can create fragility, but this is creating strength. We're like how athletes gradually increase their training intensity to build physical strength. Okay, while you're here, lift your ankle. Let's work some internal rotation. Stay leaning back. Okay, and then find your way out of this pose. And yeah, do what you need to do to recover from that. Okay, we're going to come into, for our fourth pose, we're going to come into lunge pose. Okay, we're going to come into lunge pose. So walk your left leg forward. And we're just going to start by rocking forward and leaning back. Rocking forward and leaning back. So our lives are never going to be free of stress. That's just not life. So when stress comes up, we can know that it's a normal part of navigating our lives and also something that is important to us. And then come forward. Take your hands to the inside of your foot. Take your inside hand and you're going to reach through and rotate up. Reach through and rotate up. And then let's come back and we're going to walk your right leg through. And you're going to lean forward and back. So I called this series, Navigate Your Nervous System, because we want to be able to move flexibly through our nervous systems. We want to be able to come up into sympathetic. We want to be able to go down into our parasympathetic. But we want to be able to move fluidly through our nervous system without getting stuck in any one place. And then you're going to come forward again, hands to the inside. You're going to take your right hand through and reach up. And then I want you to remove, if you've got a blanket underneath your knees, remove the blanket. And then find your blocks. Okay, and then you're going to take your left foot between your blocks. We're going to come back to that lunge. Tuck your back toes under. And you're going to inhale. And exhale, straighten your legs. So when stress comes up, we can know that it's a normal part of life. So success is not the absence of stress or sympathetic nervous system activation. I like to say we're not spiritual zombies. When it arises, we can tend to it. We don't want to stay in prolonged periods of it, but we're not trying to avoid it. Okay, let's switch. Okay, and then you're going to come all the way up to standing. Okay, from standing, you take your feet maybe a little wider than hip width apart. Relax. And then you're going to twist. This is called knocking on the door of life. I think this is number 6. Yep, it's number 6. So we're halfway through our 12 poses for positive stress. And this one is just so great. You're stimulating your kidney organ meridian system, and it helps to wake up our energy. So sympathetic nervous system activation, it's great. Our cortisol levels rise in the morning to wake us up, to give us energy for the day. Okay, pause. Notice how you feel. Feel that bubbling energy, buzzing energy in your body. We're going to knock the meridians on your body. You can knock them. You can smooth them, whatever feels best for you. Knock down the inside of your arm, up the outside of your arm, across your body, down the inside of your arm, outside of your arm. You can knock on your chest. And the outside of your body, you're going to go down on your kidneys, down the backs of your legs, up the insides of your legs, and then you're going to knock right here at the creases of your legs, and you're going to knock on your belly. Okay, let's do that again, inside of the arms. So the stress response can stimulate a tend and befriend response. So when we go through stress, it causes us to reach out for help and offer help to others, which is it's just a great response. And you can think about this happens when natural disasters happen. We tend to come together as a species. We offer help. So if floods happen, people will come together and get sandbags and offer groceries and clothes and whatever's needed, right? So that tend and befriend thing happens. And then we experience, whether we receive the help or offer the help, we experience the release of a hormone called oxytocin, which helps us, which makes us feel good. So that's a positive experience that comes from stressful situations, the tend and befriend response and oxytocin. Okay. Number 7. We're going to do breath of joy. So you're going to just pause here actually first. Let's just feel that flow of chi in our bodies, that stimulation, that buzzing energy. And then for breath of joy, you inhale, you bring your arms up in front, inhale out to the side, inhale overhead, and then you can exhale, drop down. So if you have issues with blood pressure, you're going to keep your breath here, all upright. If you're okay and you don't have glaucoma or any eye issues like that either, you can also add a forward fold to this, where you come down. You're going to finish down in a standing forward fold. Standing forward fold. So doing these little stresses, stress managed well, can be a source of strength. That stress inoculation that we've talked about. Building up tolerance to stress through repeated exposure. Great engaging with small, manageable stressors. It'll increase our ability to handle more significant challenges in the future. So it's true, we don't want to be in prolonged periods of stress and sympathetic activation. We need breaks like we're taking right now in Uttanasana. Let your head hang. Let the back of your neck be long. But we do want to give our nervous system a chance to be strong and fluid, moving through the full scale, coming up into activation, and then recovering and coming down into parasympathetic activation. Okay, slowly come back up. And we're going to come back down to a kneeling position. And I want you to stand on your knees, put your blocks down by your ankles. So stand on your knees, blocks by your ankles. Take your right knee forward. Tuck your tailbone under. Inhale, take your arms overhead. And take your left hand back by your block. You're going to inhale, take your right hand over and take it back by your block as well. So we're going to do, my body just doesn't want to do this today. You're going to take your, we're going to come into a back bend. My body is like, no, we're not. So the idea is you can do camel pose with your hands on the blocks, but my body's saying no. So I'm going to take my hand, instead I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my hand behind my head. I'm going to rotate and open. So I get a really nice hip flexor opening. And a nice little side bend and a little back bend today, my body's saying. So you can do that modified camel back bend, or you can join me for this really nice hip flexor opening, back bendy thingy, gentle. So the point of this class is to not feel like a failure when you experience stress. Because the point is to not be in stress all the time. Stress is a normal part of being a human being and a normal part of experiencing our nervous systems. Okay, let's come back. And you can inhale. So the camel works like this. You come up and over, and then you come up and over on both sides. Or you can join me, take your hand behind your head, and rotate open. Whatever feels best today. And then you're going to release that. And we're going to come for pose 10 into a child's pose. Child's pose or knees to chest if that doesn't work for your ankles and your knees. So child's pose, I'm going to use the bolster. So I just want to repeat that we do not want to feel inadequate or guilty or like a failure in any way when our nervous system goes into sympathetic activation. It's a very normal response for our nervous system. And instead we can offer ourselves compassion and kindness. We can tend and befriend ourselves and be there for ourselves. The more we take care of ourselves, the more we build the resources to be present for others. And then you're going to come onto your back and you're going to take that bolster and put it on your right side. So this will be our 11th pose. Arms in a soft T. Bend your left leg. Tuck your right hip under. Take your leg up onto that bolster. And rest into your twist. And then come onto your back, press into your feet, untuck your hips. Give your spine a chance to unravel. And then let's take your bolster over to the other side. This time you'll bend your right leg, extend your left, tuck your hips under, take your right leg on top of the bolster. Come back onto your back. Pause for a moment, let your spine come back to neutral. And then go ahead and set yourself up for your final resting position for your Shavasana, which will be your 12th pose. So let yourself be as comfortable as possible to receive your final resting position. Feel the support of the earth again. Let yourself receive your breath in and your breath out. And each time you breathe out, allow yourself to let go and sink and rest a little bit more deeply into the ground. So just as a way to review this class and reflect back on it, stress in sympathetic nervous system activation is a normal response to things that matter to us in our lives. Stress is a normal part of a meaningful life. It's inextricably linked to the things that we care about the most. Our relationships, our work, our personal goals, intentions, and aspirations, and our passions, our projects. And when we embrace our stress, when we take care of it rather than resisting it, we can better manage it and use it as a source of motivation, reassurance, and learning. As we navigate the adversities in our lives, we learn from them and we're able to grow. So when sympathetic nervous system activation arises or stress comes up, we can meet ourselves with awareness, with acceptance, with compassion. So rather than seeing it as a personal failing, or rather than trying to eliminate stress from our lives, we can embrace it when it comes up and acknowledge that it's a normal part of our human experience and offer ourselves kindness and care. So gradually allow your breath to deepen. Wiggle and stretch out. You can bend your knees and roll to your side and slowly make your way up to seated. So if you made it all the way to the end, give this video a thumbs up and put stress gives me DHEA and oxytocin in the comments. I'll know you made it all the way to the end. And be sure to go to melissawest.com/navigate to get the Navigate Your Nervous System sheet. I will see you in October as we start to navigate the parasympathetic nervous system with our yoga nidras. I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as our oceans. May you be as rooted as the old growth trees in our forest. And may you be as strong as our mountains. And if you want to keep going, remember in our membership community, we're focusing on the fitting in response through September and the FOM response in October.